They told you it was just chance. But what if every random moment you've ever brushed off was never random at all? What if it was a signal, a message sent through time by a version of you who already knows how the story ends? Let me tell you about Clara. One quiet morning, she answers a call from an unknown number. No one speaks. A heartbeat later, her favorite childhood song, one she hasn't heard in decades, begins to play on the radio. She steps outside, trying to make sense of the odd timing, and sees a butterfly tattoo on a stranger's wrist. The exact design she once sketched in her diary, a secret she never shared. That night, while reaching for a forgotten book, she finds an old letter tucked between its pages. It's from her grandmother. The message is short: you already know. Trust the path. Clara feels a rush of something she can't name. Was this chance or a conversation across dimensions? Here's what we were never taught. Time doesn't move in a straight line. Your past isn't behind you, and your future isn't waiting ahead. It's already unfolding, right now, in another layer of reality. In that invisible field, another version of you is already living the life your soul is reaching toward. Synchronicities aren't accidents. They're transmissions. But most people miss the secret. They're not passive signs. They're interactive invitations. When you notice a repeated number, a symbol that feels too meaningful, or a sudden meeting that stirs your heart, you're not just witnessing magic. You're being witnessed back. The field observes how you respond. Your reaction determines whether the timeline expands or dissolves into silence. Pause for a moment. Let that settle. What if you've already ignored a dozen messages from your future self today without realizing it? Quantum physics is finally catching up to what mystics have whispered for centuries. Reality isn't solid. It's fluid, layered, infinite. Every choice, every feeling, every intention splinters into countless timelines, all existing at once. Somewhere, the version of you who's already healed, already loved, already abundant, already free, exists right now. The question isn't whether they're real. The question is, are you tuned enough to hear them? We've been taught to treat synchronicities as sweet signs from the universe, little cosmic winks. But there's so much more. They're feedback loops, real-time signals that your consciousness is brushing against a higher frequency. The instant you align, even slightly, the field responds. You're not just seeing signs, you're co-transmitting with the universe. But then comes the silence, the space between songs. No signs, no numbers, no whispers. That silence isn't rejection, it's feedback. A mirror showing that your inner signal is out of sync. The universe isn't ignoring you. It's waiting for you to become readable again. Like tuning a radio, the frequency is always there. But if your dial drifts, you only hear static. The song of your future self is already playing, but noise, fear, doubt, distraction keeps you from hearing it. Not because the music isn't playing, but because you're not tuned in. So what if the heartbreak you endured wasn't a loss, but a course correction? What if the job you lost was the only way your higher self could redirect you toward a path meant for expansion, not survival? The universe doesn't speak English. It speaks vibration, resonance, and rhythm. Every moment of déjà vu, every phrase you hear right after thinking it, every shiver that runs through your body before your mind catches up, it's a signal, a breadcrumb, a message from your multidimensional self. And yet most people delete the message before they even read it. Why? Because the moment we demand logic, we mute intuition. We stop feeling, what is this awakening in me? And start asking, what does this mean? The language of the universe isn't to be decoded. It's to be felt. That's the part logic can't stand. The space where science and soul begin to merge. There is no tidy explanation for a message meant for your spirit. And yet quantum physics quietly confirms what mystics have always known. In John Wheeler's delayed choice experiment, particles shifted their behavior based on how and when they were observed, even retroactively. Your awareness now can ripple backward through time, rewriting the trajectory of what already happened, and in doing so, reshaping what comes next. Let that truth breathe inside you. The present moment isn't the result of your past, it's the command center of your reality. This isn't poetic language, it's physics in motion, biology in expression. Synchronicities are not coincidences. They're neural pathways connecting timelines, bridges between versions of you that already know the way home. And when you begin to respond to those signals intentionally, when you treat each synchronicity as a coded message from your higher self, not a random hello, but a divine briefing, the field begins to roar. Physicists now admit what ancient sages whispered. Your future isn't ahead of you. It's already encoded within the quantum field, waiting for your frequency to activate it. In classical science, time moves neatly, past, present, future. But the quantum world shattered that simplicity. The moment observation itself changed outcomes, time folded in on itself. The present can influence the past, which means the future already exists, not as a fixed road, but as waves of potential, waiting for your consciousness to choose which one solidifies into form. The quantum field is not an idea. It's the architecture of existence, a vast ocean of vibration holding every possible version of you. The one who stayed, the one who left, the one who became, the one who doubted. It contains the love you haven't met, the healing you haven't felt, the success you secretly dream of, but still resist believing. All of it hums in frequencies beyond linear time. But here's the paradox. The field doesn't answer to your words. It responds to your state. No matter how badly you want something, if your energy doesn't match it, the signal won't connect. Manifestation isn't about summoning what you desire. It's about tuning into the version of reality where it's already true. That's why manifestations often flicker. They appear, then fade. Not because the universe changed its mind, but because your vibration did. The quantum field is like an infinite streaming service. Each version of your future plays on a different channel, and your emotions, beliefs, and identity decide which one you subscribe to. Synchronicities are previews, trailers from the future you're beginning to access. But if you don't stabilize your signal, the feed cuts out, and you're left wondering if it was all your imagination. It never is. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls it becoming no one, going nowhere in no time. To reach the quantum field consciously, you must step outside the identity that keeps repeating the same patterns. The moment you dissolve the emotional habits that sustain the old you, even for a breath, the universe listens. That's when the field responds. That's when synchronicities multiply. Here, neuroscience meets mysticism. Your brain is a living archive of the past. Every repeated thought, emotion, and behavior strengthens a neural pathway. Over time, those patterns become your personality, and your personality projects your personal reality. So long as you remain the same you, you'll keep meeting the same future. But the instant you think a new thought, feel a new emotion, or make a new choice, the brain begins to rewire, the field takes notice, and time itself rearranges to meet you halfway. You're not rewriting destiny. You're stepping into a version of it that's always been waiting. Not all futures vibrate at the same frequency. Some are dense, looping through patterns of fear, shame, and survival. Others are lighter, woven with creativity, joy, and calm coherence. They aren't better, only clearer. And coherence is what makes your signal strong enough for the field to mirror it back. So when you start noticing repeated numbers, familiar symbols, or uncanny encounters, don't rush to decode their meaning. Instead, ask the question that unlocks every door. Who am I becoming that allows this frequency to appear? That question turns the key because synchronicities don't show you what you want. They show you what you're already resonating with. It looks ordinary on the surface. You think about a friend you haven't spoken to in years, and they message you that same day. You've been doubting a bold career move, and a stranger suddenly shares how taking a risk changed their life. You dream about moving to another city, and the next morning a car with that city's name pulls up beside you in traffic. Random? Never. The field is simply reflecting what your vibration has begun to broadcast. Echoes nudging you toward the version of you that's aligning. But remember, the universe doesn't speak in words. It speaks in patterns. Miss the first one, it repeats. Ignore the second, it amplifies. Keep silencing your intuition with logic or fear, and the signals fade. Not as punishment, but because energy is sacred currency. The field only magnifies what you're willing to magnify within. Here lies an uncomfortable truth. Most people are transmitting resistance. They crave change yet operate from contraction. They seek abundance but embody lack. They yearn for love but expect loss. And so, the field, perfectly honest, reflects those frequencies back through situations, people, and synchronicities that seem painful. But they're not punishment. They're proof that creation never stops. What does this mean? It means your task isn't to chase signs. It's to become the signal itself, a coherent field that your future recognizes instantly. When your mind, emotions, nervous system, and intention fall into harmony, reality responds at once. Coincidences transform into confirmation. Time softens its edges, and you finally realize you were never trying to manifest your future. You were remembering it, but this is only the threshold. Because once you understand how synchronicities form, they stop being mysteries and start becoming a map, a navigational system between you and your higher timeline. Repeated numbers, songs that play at the perfect moment, conversations that arrive as answers. These aren't random. They're codes, vibrational signals precisely tailored to your state in that instant. And here's what most overlook. Synchronicities aren't merely messages, they're mirrors. The universe isn't speaking to you, it's speaking as you. Every symbol, every echo, every alignment is consciousness folding back upon itself to show you who you're becoming. In physics, we call this coherent interference. In spirit, we call it alignment. Both describe the same sacred meeting point, where your inner frequency meets the outer field. That convergence bursts what we name a synchronicity. A synchronicity isn't the universe giving you something. It's the field confirming your clarity. It's the echo of your own signal returning as form through time. Picture this. Your consciousness is a lighthouse casting light across the quantum sea. Most of the time, the beam scatters, diffused by fear, distraction, or old emotion. But when you stabilize into coherence, that beam focuses. Somewhere across the waters of possibility, your future self catches the signal and sends a pulse back. That pulse doesn't speak, it arrives. Not as words, but as a synchronicity. It might come as a stranger echoing your exact thought aloud, a dream that spills into waking life, the clock flashing 11:11 the very instant you make a decision. But understand this, the event isn't the message. The timing is, the alignment is. The real signal is the way it grips your attention, stirs your body, and stops you mid-thought. That visceral recognition, that spark, is the transmission. Dr. Rupert Sheldrake's theory of morphic resonance suggests that patterns of information exist in a non-local field, and that similar patterns reinforce one another across space and time, which means the more a particular timeline is energized through emotion, thought, or focus, the stronger its magnetic pull becomes. Synchronicities are simply the earliest signs of that gravity turning into form. But if you're not emotionally present, you miss the signal. And if you overanalyze it, you distort it. That's why the logical mind struggles to decode synchronicities. They're not written for language, they're encrypted in vibration. Neville Goddard once said, "You attract what you are, not what you want." But quantum understanding takes it further. You don't merely attract, you interface. When you feel resonance with a number, a person, a phrase, that feeling is the language. The resonance is the confirmation. Meaning comes later. Most people only recognize the obvious signs, yet the field whispers constantly through micro-synchronicities. Fleeting sensations, intuitive nudges, subtle distortions in time that only the fully present can perceive. That's why spiritual awakening feels like waking inside the dream. You start noticing what was always there. Practices like meditation, breathwork, and stillness aren't luxuries. They're calibration tools. Without them, your nervous system stays too noisy to detect the finer frequencies. Your perception remains glued to the past, unable to sense when the future is quietly knocking. Here's something extraordinary. Neuroscience now confirms that the heart generates a measurable electromagnetic field extending several feet beyond the body, and it often perceives information before the brain does. That flutter in your chest, the warmth in your gut, the tingle when you hear the right lyric, These aren't reactions, they're decodings. Your body is reading the quantum data in real time. But noticing isn't mastery, responding is. Every synchronicity is an invitation, a micro-initiation from your future self offering a new alignment. The question is whether you'll act. Will you make the call you've been avoiding? Say yes to the risk that scares you? Rewrite the story of what you deserve? The field doesn't reward curiosity, it amplifies embodiment. Those who chase signs but refuse to evolve remain stuck in spiritual entertainment. The universe isn't performing for you, it's evolving through you. So here's the shift. Stop asking for signs. Become one. Live so vividly that your presence itself becomes a signal, a walking synchronicity in someone else's life. When your energy stabilizes into coherence, the field rearranges itself around you. People appear at the right moment. Opportunities fall into place. Time softens. Reality bends. Your very existence becomes a broadcast of the future you came here to remember. And the greatest misunderstanding? Thinking that a synchronicity is the destination. It isn't. It's a doorway, a bridge, a breadcrumb from the version of you that already knows the way home. If you stop to worship the sign, you lose the path, because the true power lies in what happens after. In the quiet pause between the signal and your response. That breath, that choice point, decides whether the next timeline opens or fades. And in the next chapter, we'll step into dangerous ground. What happens when you ignore the signs, when the field keeps whispering and you keep doubting? Because even in silence, the field is watching, and not every message waits forever. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. Most people don't miss their manifestations because they're unlucky or undeserving. They miss them because they hesitate. They receive the signal and freeze, not from disbelief, but because they're not yet ready to become what that signal demands of them. Take Luca. For weeks he meditated on clarity, asking for a sign, a confirmation that it was time to leave his corporate job and follow his creative calling. One night, he dreams of walking down a glowing corridor with a single door at the end. The next day, a friend casually mentions a company searching for someone with his exact skills, in the very city he's always felt magnetically drawn to. The alignment was perfect, too specific to ignore. Yet instead of moving, Luca hesitated. He analyzed, made lists, told himself he needed more time. 2 weeks later, the opportunity was gone. That luminous door had quietly closed. This isn't punishment, it's physics. The quantum field is alive, intelligent, and ruthlessly efficient. When a synchronicity appears, it means your vibration has temporarily matched a timeline. That window of coherence opens, but it won't stay open forever. The field responds to momentum, not uncertainty. Action isn't the reward for alignment, it's the code that signals readiness. So ask yourself, how many times have you received a sign and done nothing? How many whispers from your intuition have you told to wait? Synchronicities are generous, but not eternal. They're like tuning forks. They ring pure when struck, but delay dulls their tone. Doubt distorts. Fear dissolves. Every time you say maybe, the field hears not yet, and the timeline shifts. Here's the part that stings. The signs don't stop because you're broken. They stop because your signal tells the field you're not available for that level of alignment right now. And the field, always mirroring, always adjusting, pulls that version of the future back into potential. It offers you something else, smaller, safer, more familiar. This is timeline delay. A version of you had already manifested what you asked for. But instead of stepping forward, you looped. You dimmed your frequency. You postponed your expansion. Yet nothing is ever truly lost in the field, only waiting to be tuned to again. Your future self is patient. It will send new signs, new pathways, new doors. But every delay costs not just time, it drains vibrational integrity. You start doubting your clarity, stop trusting your inner knowing, and eventually convince yourself that the universe has gone silent. When in truth, you stop listening. And here's the deeper current. The more signs you ignore, the louder life must become. At first, it's a gentle nudge, then a repeated message, then a dissonance that hums beneath your skin. Ignore it long enough and it becomes a rupture, a loss, a collapse, a breakdown. Not as punishment, but as recalibration. Sometimes pain is the only frequency powerful enough to break the old identity. But imagine this. What if right now you stopped postponing? What if you stopped waiting for the universe to shout and instead became silent enough to hear the whisper? What if, instead of asking, "Was that really a sign?" you asked, "What part of me is afraid to follow it?" Because the only thing standing between you and your highest timeline is the version of you that still believes it's safer not to change. The synchronicity has already arrived. The door is already open. The field is already aligned. But if you don't move, nothing changes. There is no perfect moment, no certainty, only presence. And presence, that still, electric awareness, is what activates the bridge. Now I want to invite you to anchor this shift, not with something grand, but with something small and powerful. Type in the comments, "I choose the version of me who listens." Let this be your first conscious act of alignment, not just noticing the signs, but responding to them. Because the moment you declare it out loud, you stop being a seeker. You become a collaborator. The kind of soul the field recognizes instantly. You don't just wait for magic, you answer it, and in that instant, the timeline begins to move. But here's something rarely discussed in spiritual spaces. Yet it's the key that turns everything. We spend so much energy trying to attract signs, visualize outcomes, or feel into the field. But what if synchronicities aren't random feedback loops at all? What if they're deliberate transmissions, intentional communications from your future self? What if your next step isn't being chosen for you, but with you? In this next unfolding, we bridge quantum physics and metaphysical truth. The observer effect reveals something extraordinary. Your future self isn't a fantasy. It's a conscious force already co-creating with you. The more aware you become of that presence, the more reality bends to mirror your knowing. The signs were never the destination. They were the doorway. And now, you're about to meet the one who's been sending them. There's a moment, quiet but unmistakable, when you sense that something is watching you. Not with fear, but with deep remembrance. As if someone already knows how this story ends and is simply waiting for you to catch up. That someone is you, or rather the version of you already living the timeline your soul aches for. Here's the paradox. In quantum physics, we often speak of the observer effect as something external, the act of observation changing what is seen. But what if the observer isn't just your present awareness? What if your future self is observing you back, and their attention is what's collapsing your current reality toward their timeline? Let's go scientific for a moment. In the famous double-slit experiment, when a particle isn't observed, it behaves like a wave, infinite fluid potential. But the moment it's observed, it collapses into a single point, a tangible reality. This isn't theory, it's measurable. The act of being seen defines existence itself. Now ask yourself, if reality only solidifies when it's observed, who else is watching your life besides you? This isn't a poetic question. It's a structural one. According to David Bohm's theory of the implicate order, everything in the universe is enfolded within everything else. Time, space, and consciousness aren't separate. They're woven together in a holographic field of infinite information. Your future self isn't a later version of you, it's a deeper layer of you, already active in the field, already aware, already collaborating. When your vibration becomes coherent, when your emotions, thoughts, and energy align, you don't just attract a new reality, you become visible to that future self. Their attention meets yours, and together you co-collapse a new version of reality that bridges your timelines. This is what mystics meant when they spoke of walking with God or being guided by spirit. It was never about something outside of you. It was about the part of you that exists beyond time, shaping reality with you in every breath. You felt this before. Those moments when you just knew. A decision made in seconds that changed everything. A risk that made no logical sense but felt right. A silence that spoke louder than any voice. Those weren't accidents. They were sync points. Perfect alignments between your present self and your future self, where the universe rearranged itself in real time. That is the observer effect in motion, not as cold physics, but as spiritual technology. When you begin to live this way deliberately, you stop asking life to show you the way because you realize the way is being built as you walk it. Every choice becomes an act of creation. Every breath, a collapse of possibility into form. Your future self isn't watching from afar. They're guiding you, nudging, whispering, reorienting, because your expansion is their past. Let that truth land. Your awakening is already someone else's memory. So how do you deepen this connection? Not by begging for more signs, but by becoming more present. Presence sharpens perception. It tunes your nervous system to the subtle movements of energy, the micro signals, the shifts in coherence, opening the bridge between mind and field. The more present you are, the clearer the signal. The clearer the signal, the faster the co-creation. Your future self doesn't speak in words. They speak in vibration. They communicate through alignment. That's why embodied action, living as if the future is already here, is the most powerful ritual you can perform. Every time you act from that knowing, you strengthen the quantum link between your now and your next. You dissolve hesitation, you quiet doubt. You become a sharper receiver and a bolder transmitter. As Dr. Joe Dispenza says, this is the process of firing and wiring new neural patterns, not just in the brain, but in the field. Your body becomes the instrument, the field becomes the amplifier, and your future self becomes the conductor of the symphony you were always meant to play. But here's the truth everyone overlooks. Your future self isn't only guiding you toward what you desire, they're also protecting you from timelines that no longer serve your evolution. That's why some synchronicities feel like endings, why relationships fall apart, why opportunities suddenly collapse. Because your higher self is collapsing timelines before they collapse you. This is a kind of love the ego can't comprehend. A love that doesn't soothe illusions, but burns them away. A love that prunes your life so something greater can grow. Not to punish you, but to prepare you. Your next timeline needs space, and your soul is being asked to clear the way. What would shift in your life today if you truly believed your future self is already guiding you, already watching, already arranging the path ahead, simply waiting for you to align? Would you hesitate less? Would you speak your truth more freely? Would you trust the pull instead of doubting it? Would you stop questioning and begin moving like someone who already knows? Here is a quiet secret. The more you trust, the louder the signals become. The more you honor them, the more they multiply. The more you move in coherence, the more your future self pours energy into your now. You are not moving toward your destiny. You are moving with it. You are not a seeker. You are the signal. And everything changes the moment you embody this truth. Stop waiting for signs. Start becoming one. Stop chasing alignment. Begin embodying it. You were never meant to merely witness the magic. You were always meant to become it. The world taught you to wait for signs, confirmations, green lights from the outside. It trained you to believe power lives beyond you. But what if you've been reading the signals backward all along? The moment you stop waiting, the field begins to listen. This is the turning point. Stop chasing. Start radiating. Become the source of alignment itself. The future you seek is not a place. It is a frequency, a state of being, already existing within you. Synchronicities don't appear because you asked. They appear because you matched. And when you consistently match, you become the signal itself. The field does not respond to hesitation, doubt, or waiting. It responds to embodiment, to the version of you that walks as if it's already done, breathes as if the future is here, and lives as if the affirmation is complete. Energy does not lie. Synchronicities are not the goal. They are training wheels, echoes from your higher self, teaching you to recognize your own power. Stop needing signs and something extraordinary occurs. You move from confirmation to command. You stop interpreting the field and start directing it, not with force, with resonance, with a steady nervous system, emotional coherence, and spiritual integrity. Become so unwavering in who you are becoming that the field must reconfigure around you. Reality does not shift when you get what you want. It shifts when you become non-negotiable about who you are. This is the collapse point, the quantum jump, the moment you stop oscillating between timelines and anchor into the one that reflects your deepest truth. From that moment, synchronicities do not just appear, they orbit you. You become a magnetic field so clear, so steady, that the right people, opportunities, and moments cannot help but find you. You no longer manifest from need, you manifest from remembrance. You remember who you are, why you came here, and how reality bends around certainty. The shift cannot be given to you. It cannot be handed down. No one can walk this embodiment for you. You alone decide, I am the version of me I've been waiting for. Presence, clarity, and coherence become your ritual. You stop asking the universe for miracles. You begin being the frequency that miracles respond to. The field is ready, your future self is watching, and the timeline is already shifting.